Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight we're diving into 3 chilling stories from r/nosleep. At first, they might sound supernatural, but as each story unfolds, you'll realize the real horror is far closer to home. If you enjoy this kind of storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Huge thanks to the original authors for sharing these nightmares with us. So get comfortable, turn down the lights, and let's get into some true Reddit horror stories. Anyone who works in a call center has had at least one. Whether it's the first traumatizing call or one that hit particularly close to home, we've all had a call that stuck with us. Mine isn't like the others. It was worse. Much worse. This is the call that made me quit my job as a 911 dispatcher.
911, what is your emergency?
A woman answered, panicked.
Please, you have to help me. I think someone is in my house. Ma'am, what is your address? Ma'am, what is your Please hurry. I'm hiding in the closet. I can hear footsteps.
Her voice was little more than a whisper.
Ma'am, I need your address. If you could... Shh, he'll hear you.
I paused, listening intently.
Lily H. N. Elementary School, Class 2A.
I froze. The buzz of the world around me was drowned out as a deep-seated dread coursed through my body like venom. That was my daughter's information. It took me a long time to find the words, but when I did, they practically spilled out of me.
Who are you?
I didn't receive a response. The call ended immediately afterward. I threw down my headset and stormed past my supervisor, pale as a ghost. "Hey, where are you going?" he shouted. I didn't stick around to explain. I had to get home. It drove like a woman possessed all the way to my house. I kept turning over the caller's words in my head. The woman. Who was she? I skidded to a stop in my driveway and made a beeline for the front door. I was fumbling with the key, trying to fit it into the lock, when I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. "Don't turn around." It was the woman's voice. "I know everything about you. Where you work, who your friends are, what you eat for breakfast in the morning." I felt a long fingernail tracing the outside of my ear, taunting me, almost playful. "Tell anyone about that call, and you will regret it." She sliced her finger down my earlobe hard enough to draw blood. I winced. Why? Why are you doing this to me? I don't even know who you are." The woman's breath was hot against my flesh. "You took something very precious from me. Now I'm going to take something precious from you." The hand lifted from my shoulder, but I was too frightened to move. I don't know how long I stood there, trembling, key halfway in the lock. When I finally gathered the courage to turn around, the woman was gone. I burst into the house and raced to my daughter's bedroom. I threw open the door and flew over to her bed. I cannot describe the immense relief I felt when I found Lily lying under the blankets, fast asleep. Nothing happened for weeks afterward. I had informed the police and Lily's school of the matter, despite the woman's threat, and they assured me that they would do everything in their power to keep me and my daughter safe. But they failed. I received a call yesterday while hunting for jobs. It was Lily's teacher.
Hello, Mrs. H. This is Lily's homeroom teacher. I'm calling to ask if you've picked up your daughter from recess today.
Dread swallowed me like a python. My voice trembled as I gave my answer.
No, I haven't. What happened? Where is my daughter? I'm sorry, Mrs. H. I really am. Lily, she never came back inside from recess. The police have been informed.
In that moment, my entire world fell apart. I hung up the phone and I cried. I know it was her, the woman. I don't know who she is or what she wants, but now I can only pray that she brings my daughter back to me. If you ever hear someone say, Mr. Jones will come soon, leave immediately. Hello, how are you settling in? My neighbor asked me as she handed me freshly baked cookies. Doing well, trying to get my stuff organized. Just let me know if you need anything. Thank you, I really appreciate it. Have you had the chance to meet Mr. Jones? No, I haven't. You really need to meet him. He is just amazing. I'll be happy to. Who is he? Gotta get going. See you around, neighbor. You know where to find me. Strange, I thought to myself. On the drive to the supermarket, everyone waved at my car. Inside, people were saying hi, smiling. My mom said that small towns had their charm. Oh, a new face, an old man said. Hi, I'm James. Nice to meet you, James. I'm Daniel. Have you had the chance to meet Mr. Jones? No. You really need to meet him. He is just amazing. Who is this Mr. Jones? You'll see, son, he said, and walked away. Did the man talk the same way as the woman did? But all of the thoughts were gone when, to my left, I saw the most beautiful woman ever. She was tall, with dark hair, dark eyes, and pale skin, dressed in all black with black painted fingernails. Hi, I'm James, I said as I walked closer to her. Hi, I'm Tanya, she said, and turned back to her groceries. Do you think I could take you to dinner sometime, Tanya? I don't know you, James. I know, but I just got into town and I'm trying to make friends. She stared at me suspiciously. I'll pay. Okay. She gave me her number and walked away. I wanted to play it cool, but as soon as I got home, I texted Tanya. To my surprise, she didn't ghost me, and we set up a date on the weekend. Over the next few days, I started noticing subtle references to this Mr. Jones. Many streets, squares, and buildings were either named after him or dedicated to him. The police department was even named after him. But no matter how much I looked online, I couldn't find a single mention of Mr. Jones. It all seemed so strange. Was he even real? Tanya lived on the outskirts of the city, a strange little suburb with very few houses. Hers was the only one that looked inhabited. You want some music? I asked when she got into my car. Sure. I played a playlist I created for her. Oh, I wouldn't think of you as a Sisters of Mercy fan, she said, smiling. Really? Why? You look a little too square, James. Hey, I said and laughed. My dad actually got me into this music, she said. Does he live here too? Not anymore, he passed away. I'm really sorry. It's okay, it's been a while. When we came to a restaurant, I could see some familiar faces sitting around. The people all looked my way, happy to see me, waving until they saw Tanya. Their faces would change, and the familiar smile was gone. They would look down at the ground and barely greet me. Tanya didn't seem moved a bit by their sudden hostility and kept joking and laughing. Her fashion and makeup choices definitely made her stand out, but it seemed strange that it would cause such discomfort in these people. Did you do something to everyone in this town? I asked jokingly. Haha, what do you mean? They don't seem happy to see you. Oh no, people here are just squares like you. They hate how I dress and act, but their anger gives me joy. How have you been liking these people? Yeah, I like them. Everyone is so friendly and nice. But I have this question I need to ask you. What is it? Who is Mr. Jones? Tanya's face faded. She looked cold and serious. Her reaction took me aback. Well, people take him as a patron. He's been with his town since the first settlement. He helps the people here in many ways. Used to be mostly harvest. Now he helps the business thrive. He comes by once in a while and he does things. People think of him as a saint, but she looked around nervously. Wait, what do you mean? Has his family been here for a while? What does he take? She looked around nervously. Can we talk about something else, James? Why? What's wrong? Please, James, she begged. Okay. The server then came and took our orders. He shot Tanya a disapproving look as he left. I really enjoyed talking with you, Tanya. Me too, James. You're really sweet. You're really sweet too, I said, looked into her eyes and tried to grab her hand, but I accidentally grabbed her wrist. Shit, I was never good at this. She looked strangely at me for a second, but then moved my hand down to hers and smiled. I had to try really hard not to blush all over. I wish we could talk more, Tanya. Me too. She paused for a second. Is it too early to invite you over? No, I said a little too quickly. But I only want to talk. Is that okay, James? Of course. Do you want to get some wine for the night too? Sure. A liquor store was on the way to Tanya's. She stayed in my car while I picked up the wine. Hi, James, came up behind me. It was Daniel's voice. Oh, hi, Daniel, I said and turned around. The sight of his face almost dropped the bottle. He had two large black eyes and a torn lip that was freshly sewn up. More bruises stuck out from under his shirt. Jesus, Daniel, what happened to you? Only good things happened. I see the wine. Are you celebrating that Mr. Jones blessed us with his presence again? He had already stopped by my place. I was one of the first, he said, and flashed a wide grin. No, I'm going over to Tanya. The smile was gone from his face. He looked me up and down. She's no good, James. You shouldn't be around her, especially when Mr. Jones comes. You seem like a good kid. I think she's just fine, but I'm not too sure about this Mr. Jones. Is he really that great? His eyes widened and his mouth hung open. He stared at me for a second, then he narrowed his eyes back, looked me deep in the eyes, and nodded. You guys have a great evening tonight, he said, patting me on the back as he walked away. James got some Chardonnay. He knows what's good, Tanya said and nodded as I got into the car. Yeah. Everything okay, James? I wanted to talk to Tanya about what happened inside, but she seemed so startled the first time I asked about Mr. Jones. Yes, all good. Let's go to the party house, I yelled out, making Tanya laugh. The wine didn't taste the best, but Tanya kept saying how much she liked it. It was very sweet of her to try to make me feel good about myself. The conversation was flowing well, but I couldn't shake off the strangeness of the interaction with Daniel. Everything okay, James? You seem a little off. Yeah, it's just, I hate to bring it up, but I met Daniel. He said some weird things about Mr. Jones and not to hang around you. Tanya looked at me. Her lips started to tremble and she began crying. You don't understand, James. Mr. Jones is evil. He hurts you in such ways. People here think it's worth it, but it's not. My father went against him and didn't survive. All our family friends have shunned me. I have no one to ask for help. Why had nobody done anything? You can't. The money he's brought them is more than their soul to them. Okay, let's leave then. We can leave together. We can't, James. We can't. He won't let us. What do you mean? I'll get my car and I'll get us out of here tonight. You won't have to. I didn't even finish my sentence. Tanya had started crying so much that she wasn't listening anymore. I got up to get some tissues. This was the night we would leave. I would have to get my laptop and everything, but that wouldn't take too long. As I walked back, I heard faint hushing outside the window. When I looked out, I could swear I saw an outline of a face that slowly disappeared. My heart started racing. I walked over to the couch and gave Tanya the tissues. As I reached for my phone, the door flew open. Outside stood a pale white man with brown hair and brown eyes, dressed in a white t-shirt and blue jeans. He was smiling from ear to ear. his teeth pearly white, looking like they were modeled from Play-Doh. His skin was shining, as if someone put a layer of oil on it. He wasn't blinking. His pupils were small like pins. He began making his way across the room. His pace was swift, taking long steps almost like an old cartoon character. "Tanya, I've heard you said mean things about Mr. Jones," he said. His voice was high-pitched and loud. Tanya screamed and put her head into a pillow. "Hey, stop," I yelled and walked towards him. "You'll have your turn, James. Don't rush." His words sent a shiver down my spine, but I continued towards him. But then, from behind Mr. Jones, 3 men in uniform emerged. They immediately pushed me down and handcuffed me. They held me down as Mr. Jones walked to Tanya. She tried to punch him, scratch him, push him away, but he just stood there, smiling. He then, full force, punched her in her face, knocking her unconscious. "Stop! Stop! What are you—" But one of the officers put his knee deep into my back, making me gasp for air. Mr. Jones dragged Tanya away to the bathroom and shut the door behind him. My whole body was shivering. I could feel tears rolling down my cheeks. "Now it's your turn, James," Mr. Jones said as he walked out. The officers walked away from me and stood around in a circle, watching. I trashed myself around, trying to get up, but I was unable to. I prayed Mr. Jones would make it quick. After Mr. Jones was done with me, the officers took me and drove me back home, putting me down on a couch. "You'll get used to it, James. You have no other choice," one of them said as they left. It took me a full day to even get up and walk around. I've texted Tanya numerous times since then, but she hasn't responded. I drove around to her place. The house looked abandoned from the outside. I stopped my car and walked to the front door. A single knock opened it. It was empty. No furniture, nothing inside, but it still had that coppery smell. I walked back to my car and cried for what felt like hours. It pained me, but whatever happened to Tanya, she was gone now. I decided to pack up my stuff too and leave this hellish place for good. The sun had set when I decided to leave, but when I turned onto the road to leave the county, a police blockade stood there. I barely managed to stop the car before going on the spike strips. Blood froze in my veins. I wanted to reverse, but there was a police car behind me. How long had it been following me? A man came closer with a gun in his hand and motioned to roll down the window. "Going somewhere, James? Don't you remember what happened to Tanya?" he said and pistol whipped me. I woke up on my couch again. My car is gone from the driveway. The boxes with my stuff are scattered around my kitchen. There was a note on the table. It said, "Mr. Jones will come soon. Please, if anybody outside of Redacted is reading this, don't come here. Don't ask about Mr. Jones." Look, I know how this is going to sound. I really do. But when you're a venture capitalist with too much disposable income and not enough common sense, curiosity turns into bad decisions fast. That's how I ended up buying a supposedly real Egyptian mummy off the dark web at 3 in the morning, half drunk and fully convinced I was invincible. The seller was evasive but confident, claimed it was the genuine remains of a 15th dynasty princess named Sharidi, included grainy photos, a shaky provenance, and just enough historical jargon to feel convincing. The price? $12,000. Honestly, I had spent more on furniture I barely liked. This, at least, came with a story. And stories are meant to be shared. So I threw an unwrapping party at my Manhattan penthouse. I've always had a weakness for tasteful nonsense, so I went all in on the faux Egyptian decor. Golden scarabs from a Soho boutique, hieroglyphic papyrus prints I absolutely overpaid for, a borrowed Ankh statue made of epoxy. I even curated a playlist, slow, ominous, instrumental stuff that made everyone feel like they were part of something forbidden and important. The sarcophagus sat lengthwise on my living room table, displacing weeks of mail and one unfortunate houseplant. My guests filtered in, a mix of history nerds, thrill seekers, and friends who just wanted wine and gossip with a side of morbidity. Everyone dressed the part: linen tunics, bejeweled collars, and too much eyeliner. Phones were out, taking selfies for Instagram. I came out last, wearing a tailored tan suit with a gold and blue striped headdress, my idea of a modern pharaoh. All right, I said, smiling like this was a totally normal thing to do on a Friday night. If anyone here believes in ancient curses, last chance to back out. That got a couple nervous laughs. I wedged the crowbar into the seam of the lid. The old wood groaned, then gave with a crack. The smell that wafted out was dry and dusty. Everyone leaned in. Inside, she laid there, a tightly wrapped, slender form, the linen bandages stained a deep amber with resins. There was a crude, stylized cartonnage mask placed over her face. The gilt flaked away to reveal gray plaster beneath. The painted eyes, black and oversized, stared blankly at my ceiling. Then, with exaggerated ceremony, I took a pair of scissors and made the first cut. The linen parted easily. Too easily, maybe, but I ignored that. I peeled back layers slowly, narrating like David Attenborough. Someone, probably Mark, who once ate a live goldfish on a bet, shouted, "Hey, Rhett, I dare you to eat a piece." As a good host, I obliged. I snipped a small, brittle scrap of linen near the inner layer near the foot. "To your health, princess," I said, and popped it in my mouth. It tasted like moldy paper and stale spices. It turned to a gritty paste on my tongue. I forced it down with a swig of Cabernet as everyone cheered and gagged. A chorus of "oh my gods" and laughter followed. A few layers in, the mooch shifted. The linen smelled wrong. Not dusty or dry, but faintly chemical in places, like a thrift store or a hospital hallway. The texture varied, some sections fragile, others oddly sturdy. "Does that look stitched to you?" Greg asked. He crouched closer, squinking. Greg had taken exactly one Egyptology class in college and never let anyone forget it. He tugged at an edge. "Yeah, that's machine stitching. No way this is ancient." I laughed too loudly. Maybe the ancient Egyptians were just really ahead of their time. No one laughed back. I kept going. I didn't want to admit I felt it too, that creeping unease, the sense that we'd crossed from theatrical into something real and wrong. Beneath the outer wrappings, the body emerged. It wasn't desiccated, it wasn't skeletal. The skin was intact, pale, smooth, stretched tight over bone. Preserved, sure, but not in the way I expected. It looked recent. Then I saw the wrist. Just above it, clear as day beneath the thinning linen, was a tattoo. Black ink, crisp lines. A skeletal figure in a marching band uniform, mixed step, carrying a baton. The room went quiet. "What the hell?" my lawyer friend Lisa whispered. "Is that My Chemical Romance?" I stared at her. "The band?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's the Black Parade art. That album came out in, what, 2006? I blinked at her once, twice. 2006 BC? I asked, grasping desperately at straws. She gave me a look, the kind you give a grown adult who just asked if Wi-Fi existed in ancient Rome. "No, 2006 AD. I was in high school. I had that album on my iPod." My mouth went dry, but I didn't stop. I don't know why. Maybe shock, maybe denial, maybe the awful need to know how bad it really was. As I peeled back another layer, something slid loose and fell onto the table. Photographs. Old, curled, glossy. I picked one up with shaking hands. A young woman, smiling at the camera. Alive, normal. On her wrist, the same tattoo. The next photo showed her bound, gagged, eyes wide with terror. The last was taken in a dim room lit by harsh shadows. Figures in black robes stood over her body, faces hidden behind jackal masks, their hands wrapping her in linen with ritualistic care. Someone retched behind me. The air felt thick, unbreathable. Phones were forgotten, wine glasses untouched. Whatever thrill we'd chased was gone, replaced by a cold, sinking horror. This wasn't a relic. It wasn't history. It was evidence of a crime. I turned the final photo over. Scrawled on the back in jagged, hurried handwriting were 7 words that finally broke me. She was alive when we wrapped her. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments which story unsettled you the most. Stay safe, and remember, sometimes the scariest things are real.